breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where the government have just signed a £60 million contract in order for illegals arriving on their rubber dinghy rapids on the Kent coastline to get healthcare. So British people can't get to see a doctor for love nor money. You have to go through Fat Brenda at the doctor's surgery and persuade her to let you see a doctor if you're actually dying. But the Mujahideen can get one just like that. In other news, British supermarkets suddenly putting your carbon packaging on all food items so that you can see how much of your daily carbon allowance you've used up. You can see where this is headed, can't you? You'll have a total carbon allowance per day. That will be linked to your digital ID, and it will be decided how much food you're allowed to buy based on how much of your rations you've used up. And then no doubt in future, that carbon footprint will also be linked to your travel and other living requirements so that you get a daily carbon total, and all of your life is dictated by how much carbon you're bloody using. We are a test island, and I can promise you we are praying for an asteroid. And then a boy called Tom went on Strictly Come Dancing, is now having a small breakdown about it. What I would say as someone with experience in this field is, if you put yourself out there, if you make yourself public, if you speak out, you have to suck it up. It won't always be nice. People won't always like you. In fact, they may hate you. They may think you're the biggest bitch in Britain. But you just have to suck that up. You put yourself out there, you suck it up. Don't like it, stay at home, sit on your sofa and shut up. That's it. Batshit bonkers Britain.
In her latest viral clip, British commentator Katie Hopkins unleashed a blistering monologue that captures a growing sense of national disillusionment. Part dark comedy, part political cry. In just a few minutes, Hopkins weaves together immigration policy, climate control fears, and cultural fragility into what she calls batshit bonkers Britain, a phrase that has already begun circulating widely online. Hopkins opens her tirade with outrage over reports that the UK government has signed a £60 million contract to provide healthcare for migrants arriving via small boats on the Kent coast. Her delivery is trademark Hopkins, sarcastic, rapid fire, and unforgiving. The narrative is unmistakably populist, the forgotten British taxpayer watching his own system prioritize others. It taps into the simmering anger around the NH crisis, immigration, and perceptions of preferential treatment, a fusion of social frustration and political distrust that Hopkins has built her brand upon. Midway through the clip, Hopkins pivots sharply from healthcare to climate policy, warning viewers of a coming carbon allowance system. British supermarkets, she claims, are beginning to label food with carbon packaging, a measure of environmental footprint that she frames as the prelude to government control. In Hopkins' vision, this isn't about saving the planet. It's about digital surveillance, a total carbon allowance per day linked to digital IDs, determining not only how much you can eat, but eventually how far you can travel. Her tone turns conspiratorial but compelling. All of your life is dictated by how much carbon you're bloody using, she warns. Whether dismissed as hyperbole or embraced as prophecy, it's a vivid rhetorical performance, one that fuses green policy, tech anxiety, and populist suspicion into a single emotional narrative. Katie Hopkins' new clip is less a policy critique than a cultural barometer. In her fury over migrants, digital IDs, and celebrity fragility, she channels a segment of Britain that feels unheard, unseen, and suffocated by bureaucracy and moral hypocrisy.
Aman, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a delight to talk to you. Right, these front pages, this China spy story, it's just not going away for Keir Starmer. Is it just getting worse and worse for him?
It's getting worse and worse. Look, this is a national emergency, Bev. It really is, especially when we have the directors of MI5 and MI6 calling this out. You know, for MI5 to go over the heads and pass by the people sitting in number 10 just tells you the gravity of this situation. We also have the US House Committee on China writing into the British ambassador in Washington, D.C. of their concerns of what they see the UK in terms of the threat to from China. But look, also, this is also about protecting our elected members of parliament. You know, Tom Tugendhat, he's had his home burgled, he's had his office ransacked by Chinese operatives, I would argue, because he's been such an outspoken proponent of holding China to account on so many things that are going wrong. And the fact that the MI5 chief has said that, you know, we face state threats from China every single day, that really is an indictment of where we are in the UK.
Let's bring in Ashley and Sarah as well into this conversation, because I have this sense when we talk about what a threat China is to the UK of, well, we now are beholden to China for everything. There's almost nothing that we buy in the UK that isn't touched by the Chinese production system in some way. It is too late now. We cozied up to China 4 years under many different prime ministers. And clearly, in this case with Starmer, trying to keep them on side, even if it meant that we weren't going to get to the bottom of a spying case. What do we do now? What do we do now, Sarah? I mean, we are beholden to them.
Yeah, Bev, it's exactly that, the economic issue. So whenever these security issues come up, you look at where the money is coming from, you know, follow the money. And in this case with China, that is one of the most pertinent points. Starmer and the Labour government have huge questions that they still have not provided clarity on when they are repeatedly asked about why this prosecution of these two individuals that were accused of spying for China was dropped. I can tell you, here in America, President Trump himself is becoming very concerned about the potential security risks here when it comes to the UK's relationship with China. This isn't going away. Starmer, Labour, they're going to have to provide some more clarity over what happened with that prosecution being dropped and what was going on here. And yes, here in Washington, there is real concern and notice is being paid to what is happening right now in the UK with that China spying case.
Actually, you get a sense in this country that Donald Trump, he knows how powerful China is and how it is set to become even more powerful, but he doesn't sort of cede any kind of, he doesn't give them any ground at all, does he? No. Ownership, America first every time.
Yeah, America first every time is exactly right. I think you see this again with Trump threatening to put 100% tariffs back on China. We've seen multiple cases of Chinese spying incidents across military installations within the United States as well as universities. So this is nothing new to the United States either. And as well as we see here with the United Kingdom, we see Prince Andrew now being implicated in this. And poor guy, I think he's had to run for his money out the last few things he's been involved in. But I think the United States is just as aware of Chinese threats as the UK currently, and I think we see that going forward, the heightened concern going for that, and even letting Chinese students into the United States colleges and universities is something that's an ongoing discussion and something we highlight usually.